obviously last year I learned a couple of things. I learned what to do, what not to do. And as this year started, I figured that, okay, the right way to do it is to try and restart a new challenge. And that's when I actually stumbled upon you guys. Because with FTMO, I'm not trying to compare or anything, but like I felt like with FTMO, I didn't have enough time to prove myself. I didn't have enough time to actually do it the right way. So when I discovered CTI, I was like, okay, this is great. I get a year. That's a lot of time for me to breathe, to process everything, and even trade, at least for my type of trading, because I'm a swing trader right now. And for me to be swing trading with 30 days, it's like, that's not a lot. So yeah.
Are you working full-time or studying full-time? Well, in this interview, you're going to meet Harry, who has managed to pass the CTI evaluation, and it took him 11 months. He started in January 2020, and he's sharing his exact strategy all the way from the monthly time frame down to the H4 and how he swing trades. So you're not going to want to miss this. Make sure that you watch, take notes, because the strategy is very precise, very mechanical. And if you don't have a lot of time in your hands and you're very patient, this strategy will help you pass the CTI evaluation. So make sure you smash that like button, watch the video until the end, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to leave an awesome comment for Harry down below. And if you're interested in one of our CTI evaluations, I'll leave a link in the description below for more information. Okay, enjoy the interview. Hey Harry, how's it going?
Going good, Rodrigo. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, very well. And I want to thank you for being here on this interview. And it's going to be really interesting to find out how you got into trading, talk about your strategy. We'll look into some of your stats as well, because you've managed to pass the evaluation. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you started it in January, wasn't it?
Yeah, January this year.
Remember, it's not a race, so the fact that it took you close to about 10 to 11 months, it goes to show that it can be done. It doesn't need to be rushed. So I'm really curious to find out, how you trade, and what kind of trades you're looking for throughout that period. Yeah, tell us about how did you get into trading, and what are you currently doing?
Okay, all right. So currently I'm actually a business student at a university called Bohai in China. And yeah, man, so far it's going great. I'm in my final year, so it's exciting times ahead.
Wow. So how long have you been in China now?
This is actually my 4th year.
Wow, 4 years in China.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, man.
It's a completely different world.
Completely different world, completely different environment and people. So yeah, that's that. Trading. Wow. I stumbled upon trading in 2019. At the time, I actually got introduced to trading by my cousin. So he was at a university somewhere back home. And there was like a trader who came to his university, and he was hosting a seminar about trading and whatnot, educating people, all of that good stuff. I wasn't there, but it's only when he got home that he talked about this fascination he had about trading, about what he heard and whatnot, and I got hooked. Ever since then, I tried to get involved. I tried to, be there when there was like random seminars and whatnot. But at the time, it seemed so good to be true that I was like, okay, I think I could do it myself, just like the same mindset that every trader has in the beginning.
Yeah. Your story is so similar to mine, because my cousin went to a seminar. He done a course. He got me excited about it.
Yeah, it's something else. At the time, 2019, I just wanted to get to know more about it, but I didn't actually understand anything, I just heard that there's charts. You click a button, you make money. And I was like, really? Just like that? He said, yeah, but he actually didn't want to like get involved like that. I guess for him, it just seemed too good to be true. But for me, I was hooked. So I took it upon myself to actually get involved. And I didn't actually go through the right route in terms of like getting mentorship and getting proper knowledge or whatnot. I literally just downloaded MT4 and I was ready to trade. I was so ready to trade. I didn't have any information. I was just like, I can do this myself. Bad idea. It was a bad idea. Fast forward end of 2019. This was early 2019, by the way, when I actually got introduced. So I spent the whole year trying to crack the code, which obviously didn't work. But then I was determined, once you get hooked and once you have an interest for something, most likely you're going to get hooked. You're going to continue doing it regardless, right? Following year 2020, I tried to do the same thing. And then by 2020, I was actually here in university. So I was trying to juggle, so-called passion at that time, trading, and school as well. So how did that go? It wasn't a good idea at the time because I had just started university and I was still trying to get used to the new environment, school, and also trying to crack the code. So it was just a mix between push and pull. I do school, I do trading, I do school, I do trading. And the emotions that come with trading once you're always losing because, you don't know what you're doing if you don't have mentorship. The whole of 2020 ended and it's only up until December when I just, I was just like, I've had enough. I've been trying to do this myself. I've been trying to crack the code myself. I watched YouTube videos, I watched random ads, and I was like, I need to get mentorship. So in 2020, end of 2020, that's when I actually found myself mentorship, and the whole of 2020, transitioning into 2021, I had mentorship. I was learning.
Who did you get mentorship from?
So there's a trader called, his name is Nick, right? Sorry, I forgot his name for a second. I don't know where my mind is at. But yeah, he calls his academy Transparent FX from Italy, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got mentorship from him, and obviously I had this, this drive within me, and I went through the course in a matter of like, I think a month or something like that. And then I was so ready to trade in 2021, which I started trading, and I even ended up taking up a challenge with FTMO, right?
Right.
That was 2021, last year. I had ups and downs with it because obviously you still have this excitement. You don't have the right mindset. Perhaps the risk management is all over the place.
Yeah.
All sorts of excitement feelings getting inside my brain. And then up until this year, obviously last year I learned a couple of things. I learned what to do, what not to do. And as this year started, I figured that, okay, the right way to do it is to try and restart a new challenge. And that's when I actually stumbled upon you guys. Because with FTMO, I'm not trying to compare or anything, but like I felt like with FTMO, I didn't have enough time to prove myself. I didn't have enough time to actually do it the right way. So when I discovered CTI, I was like, okay, this is great. I get a year. That's a lot of time for me to breathe, to process everything, and even trade, at least for my type of trading, because I'm a swing trader right now. And for me to be swing trading with 30 days, it's like, that's not a lot. So yeah, fast forward, we're here now.
Fantastic. And then you applied your swing strategy to the CTI valuation. So talk me through your strategy. How do you actually find your swing trades?
Okay. So the way I trade, right, I use a combination of technicals and also fundamental on the side of the commitment of traders. So I use these two things for me to determine which direction I'm going to go with, right? And my trading, obviously, I use patterns, certain patterns that I look for. And as you can see here, I use basic impulses and corrections as my baseline in terms of direction, right? And in this situation, this was the monthly time frame. What I did here is I saw a major impulse to the upside, right? And I took the low of that impulse and used a Fibonacci to highlight the low and the high, right? And when that happened, we noticed how the market made a retracement with the past, two candles, made a retracement all the way to the 61.8 level, right? And when that happens, according to my strategy, we expect more upward movement. The Fibonacci being the first confirmation, the first retracement. Second confirmation of the upward movement is previous resistance broken, now turned support. So after the monthly time frame, I then go to the weekly time frame.
This one here, yeah?
Yeah. And so on the weekly time frame, it's also a little bit clearer for me to see the same impulse that we saw on the monthly, but then obviously this is the weekly time frame, right? Mm-hmm. So in this image you see here, I was trying to determine to which end does the continuation to the upside go to, right? And so I had to take the Fibonacci to determine that. And I took that correction leg over there from the low to the high to determine my upside target, because from the monthly, I was expecting a buy. On the weekly as well, I'm also expecting a buy, right? And therefore I go to the daily time frame, right? Yeah. So on the daily, as I mentioned earlier, I use a couple of patterns, and on the daily time frame, I can see one of my patterns according to my strategies, which is a W formation, right? And then after that W formation, you'd expect a retracement that moves downward at least to the 38.2 retracement level before the continuation to the upside. And so when that retracement to the downside happened, I had my confirmations for my buys, for my continuation to the upside, right? Mm-hmm. And so from here, I would go on the 4-hour time frame. And on the 4-hour time frame, what I'm looking for is a confirmation from my EMAs, right? Which is the EMAs crossing over for the buy to the upside, and the MACD over there also crossing above the 0 line for my buy. After that happens,
what EMAs do you use?
Sorry?
What EMAs are you using?
Oh, sorry. The EMAs I'm using is an exponential moving average, the 20 and the 10.
Okay.
And then the MACD is pretty much standard. And after I noticed that my EMA is crossed, my MACD is above the 0, I now am looking for structure on the 4-hour time frame, because for my entry, I use buy limits and sell limits. I use limit orders basically. Yeah. Right. And in this image, you see I already highlighted structure, and that structure was previously acting as support, and when the market broke it to the upside, was now turned support again. So I think I have another image that shows my actual entry without the EMAs. After my EMAs show me the confirmation, I highlighted my previous support turned support again, because if I could show you, at some point when the market broke that support structure, it was acting as resistance, and then the market went above it again. Yeah. And then in that particular moment, the market goes above that structure. I put my buy limit there. My stop loss goes below the low, and my take profit. Well, previously when we were doing analysis, I highlighted the TP, or at least the target from higher time frames, right, that we'd expect. And so I can't exactly go for those long-term targets, because sometimes we know that the market does impulses and then does pullbacks. So I only aim for 1 to 3 risk-reward ratio. So, and when I put my stop loss below the low, my take profit has to be, at 1 to 3. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
For your stop loss, how far below structure lows and highs do you put your stop loss? Do you measure it in pips or?
Okay, so with my stop loss, once the market shows me that break above that previous resistance, now turn support, I then take that small impulse from the low to the high. I usually use a Fibonacci level to draw my impulse. I take my fib from the low to the high. So I either put my stop loss below the last fib level or below the low. And if I am to put it below the low, ideally I can just leave about 5 pips from that previous low, and that's a good stop loss. I need to Sorry? Yeah, in this case, I added a little bit of pippage below the low for my stop loss, just to make it breathe, because it was a bit too The stop loss was about 18 pips, which is good, very good. But I just wanted to leave room for, stop hunting and whatnot.
Precisely. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's a very interesting strategy. And it clearly has an edge, which is great. Very thought out, all the way from the monthly down to the H4, and you know exactly what you're looking for. It sounds quite mechanical, which is what you need, isn't it, to really understand an edge?
Yeah, definitely.
And looking at your stats here, you didn't take that many trades since January, so it demonstrates that you're very patient. When either you're very busy or you're very patient. Which one is it?
I'm actually very patient. As a swing trader, you gotta be patient.
Fantastic. That's exactly what we want to hear. And your drawdown, you kept it under 4%, which is fantastic. And just looking a bit deeper, I'm really impressed by your average profitable trades versus your average losing trades. So it was almost 3 times higher. So it goes to show that you're taking small losses and you're taking larger wins.
Yeah.
And that's really what the goal is, isn't it? Just to maintain that. Because that's how you were able to maintain. Because your win rate is 35.82, so it isn't very high. But because your risk reward is like you said before, around 3R. It doesn't, the win rate doesn't matter so much, right? Question in regards to your losses, because you did take, according to this, you took about 43 losses, so 64% losses. Talk me through, how do you handle your losses? What is your process?
Okay, so usually when I encounter a loss, mostly I tend to stick to the rules, because I understand that obviously every strategy has an edge, but eventually you're going to go through a process where you encounter losses, right? But then if you stick to your edge, eventually it'll all play out. So in this situation, I was encountering losses just like every other trader, but I just stuck to my plan. And eventually it all worked out.
Yeah, I see that. Because looking at this graph here, throughout most of the year you were underwater and you maintained your patience. So it's a really, really inspiring to see this, because a lot of traders would have just got frustrated and maybe given up. But you've obviously shown tenacity and a high tolerance to being underwater. So what kind of things do you do to maintain high levels of patience?
So I'd say that mostly I tend to, let me give an example where I take a loss, maybe I take 2 losses in a row, 3 perhaps. I take the time to just lay off charts, just get away from the charts for a bit, maybe a day or 2, because I feel like the more I look at charts, the more I take losses, the more I start to want to look for trades that are not there, So as an alternative, I tend to just take a break, maybe a couple of days, just to refresh my mind. And after that, maybe if I am to look at charts, I won't be trading. I would probably be backtesting my strategy, just to give me back that confidence and that reassurance that eventually it'll all play out. And and I also work out, so I feel like that helps my mental state. So that's pretty much it, really.
No, that is a very, very powerful process, and that's the kind of answer you and process you need as a trader. It's like having the ability to just step away, to reset. That alone is a skill, and many traders, they don't have that skill, so they'll just continue trading, continue analyzing, and then forcing trades that are not there, and it's just a very quick downward spiral. And so for those traders who are watching this, take note and understand that walking away, have a little break, a couple of days, that is actually really good advice. So Harry, thank you for sharing that. It's very, very valuable advice about the ability to not trade, because it's so tempting to keep going, isn't it?
Definitely, man. You see those charts moving and you're like, wow, I'm missing out. But that's not it. That's not it. Take time, lay off a bit, and just refresh.
Exactly that. So what's been your experience with City Traders Imperium?
To be honest, it's been great. Like I said earlier, I did try a different prop firm before, or that early in my trading, and I felt like comparing other prop firms, at least the one I tried, and CTI, I feel like I've had a better experience with CTI given the benefits, not just the time period itself, but having that limit to how much you can lose. I feel like it gave me that more of like an edge in terms of my risk management, because I managed to understand that, hey, listen, you could go higher risk, but you only have this much to risk. So that limited me to only risking a certain amount. And therefore, it made me a better trader, I feel, in terms of my risk management, my mindset, because I had to scale down to the certain amount of risk that was required. And I kept that, that mindset throughout my whole journey. And given that I had the time to reach the target even, it all worked out pretty well. So I'd say I had a very great experience, looking forward to the future.
The rules that we have, the risk parameters that we have, actually make you a better trader.
Definitely. They did, actually.
Good. And that's exactly why we have those rules, Harry, is because for that main reason, it's to get the best out of you, is to guide you and sort of put you into this quite a strict process that forces you to be a professional, right? Forces you to be patient, forces you not to be greedy, and it forces you to focus on the process. So every single trade, you're like, right, double checking, this is a valid trade, this is the correct risk, right? Because you know there's a limit, especially with the relative drawdown. And so, you've experienced this year what it feels like to be a professional, right? And so now you're a portfolio manager, you got 4 times the amount of capital, you got there's actually no time limit right now for you. So you've got a lot more freedom. You've proven yourself, and now really it's you can scale all the way up to $4 million.
Oof! Can't wait, man! Can't wait.
And I'm looking forward to your success. So once again, thank you for attending this interview. It's been so insightful, so much value. Thank you for sharing your strategy, your knowledge, your wisdom, and I wish you the best of luck.
Sure, man. Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.